It somewhat echoes something you're saying, but at the same time, explore, drill, and safely use our own oil. Require big oil corporations to start drilling in the 68 million acres of American soil and offshore sites they've already leased. This is what your opponent's saying. I see some of you echoing that.
No, not really. The Democratic hard line is use it or lose it. Well, that's the current law as it is right now. Companies are paying millions, billions of dollars to lease land from the federal government. They're also doing that same sort of thing, leasing land from private individuals. Those are the two sources of land where they can get the resources out from under. But currently, the leases are only for 10 years. And you don't have, not every one of them has oil underneath it. Okay, every acre. If it did, you and I'd be an oilman, and we'd be making a lot of money. But we're not, because you take a risk when you lease a tract of land. Is there oil there or is there not? And then you've got to go through a whole exploration stage to get there. So they're going through that, and you're paying the federal government as you're doing that. Now, if you don't pay, the lease ends, the land goes back. So only good opportunities are actually being explored, and you don't just get to pick the acre that you want to actually drill on. You have to lease them by tract. And so it's a soundbite, again, that actually has no meaning to it. It's already the current law. If you don't pay on your lease, the land goes back to the federal government. And, of course, you're going to continue to pay if you have some thoughts that there's some potential benefit to you.
Sticking with energy, nuclear power. And coal, but specifically nuclear power. We have Ginna up in Wayne County, as you understand. A lot of folks say, why the heck have we not built nuclear reactors or plants in the last 30-plus years? Why? Has not the technology and safety of that technology advanced enough? I know that Constellation has looked about putting another reactor at Ginna. I know that down in Calvert Hills in Maryland, they're considering it and really trying to push the state because that state might be enrolling brownouts by 2012. Your thoughts on nuclear power?
We have to explore every potential source of energy that this country can actually imbibe upon. And nuclear is one of them. We had a nuclear plant that was built down on Long Island not too long ago, and then it was just dismembered, torn apart. And that was because the pressure locally was not in my backyard. I don't want a nuclear plant here. Interesting, other countries, other industrial countries are using nuclear energy, particularly in Europe. China just signed a contract with Westinghouse in the last year for 25 nuclear plants. And that, even when all built, that's only about 2% of their growing energy needs. So other countries trust it. The technology has advanced to the point. And we should solve the problem of where the deposits of the used spent fuel goes. And we have a depository in Yucca Mountain. There's no reason why we can't continue to use that. And so nuclear power is part of the answer.
Coal technologies.
Coal technologies, yeah, transferring coal to gasoline to oil, you can do that if we give the encouragement. We've got a lot of coal. Again, but that's short term. I think long term you have to look at alternative fuels which are environmentally safe. One of the things I like about hydrogen fuel cells is that there's no pollution, no spin-off. You're using water, it's there. Electricity. That's another clean way of actually driving our transportation needs. The battery, the technology's not there, but they're getting closer. And of course, the benefit of this investment could prove well for many, many companies.
Lastly, how's the campaign coming? Taking off the energy right now, but how is the campaign coming? Because a lot of people are eyeing this from here and way beyond the 29th district. How's it looking right now?
Campaign's great. It's going very, very well. We're seeing an incitement that we haven't seen before, a level of interest from volunteering to help, people wanting to actually participate financially at levels that we've never seen before, that I've never seen before. Getting very, very positive returns and parades and things like that. A lot of thumbs up, keep going, you're doing a great job. And that's a good feel, knowing in fact that you're making the right decisions, and many people think that.
For the Republican base in your district, I'm sorry to interrupt, and the surrounding districts, they look at Tom Reynolds, Jim Walsh, who served their districts for many, 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 many years. They're stepping down, and I think many of the Republican base is kind of turning to you to say, can you at least hold on to part of Monroe County? Because obviously we don't know how the others are going to come out. Do you feel that? Do you feel that pressure in any way, shape, or form? Or
I don't feel any pressure relative to this. And I'm running for re-election because there's a lot of solutions that need to be found at the Washington level. Things like Social Security reform, things like the other entitlement reform programs, things like the energy solutions. They need to have answers. We need to do something with immigration. We need to find a legal labor force for people who can't find the labor sources elsewhere. Our farms. They can't harvest in the fall if they don't have people to pick apples or to pick grapes, pick cabbage or whatever it happens to be. And so those are major issues that I want to go back to Washington and be part of the solution. And it's quite unfortunate that the Speaker of the House, the Democratic majority, haven't addressed those issues. This is the lowest productive Congress that we're just coming off in the last 30 years. And as of just last week, they passed 270 bills. 74 of those were naming post offices. Now, that's not a lot of substance. And sure, those may be noteworthy bills, but there's other substantive bills that need to be passed. Medicare reform, Medicaid reform, Social Security reform, immigration reform, issues that haven't been addressed and that are being avoided. Just so, I firmly believe that the Democratic majority wants the American public to suffer and to hurt so that they can make some political gains at election time. And I think that's wrong.
Okay, one more thing, real quickly. With all due respect to your opponent and his many supporters, because we know he has supporters there. I also spoke with somebody just the other day who said, I think Randy's going to win the 29th because Mr. Massa, his message is tired. He's now been out there 3 or 4 years, and people may be just getting annoyed of him. I know that's an unusual question to pose to you about your opponent. How do you respond to that individual?
Well, I'm running for the right reasons. I'm a product of this area. I was born, bred, educated, raised a family, worked here all my life. I think I understand it. My opponent has not been. He's been running for Congress almost as long as he's lived in the district. And I think that's wrong. You need to get your feet wet. You need to know what the people are feeling, thinking. And to do that, you have to live amongst them. And that's why I'm running. I could be retired. I could be collecting Social Security. But I chose to take the experience that I have, put it to work. And that's what won the last election. People know that they have somebody they can trust. We see that every day when people bring their personal problems to us to resolve. And so this is a wonderful job from the standpoint that you get to interact with people and you're always trying to help them.
Thank you very much, Congressman.